So I got to thinking that I want to put some hydraulic brakes on the Himiway Cruiser here, but in reality, I need to get my handlebars set to the height that I like. So I need to put a stem extender on there so that when I go to put on the hydraulic brakes, and if I have to cut the hydraulic hose, these are pre-bled, but if I need to cut it and resize, I'm gonna have to bleed the system. So I better get my height for my handlebars right before I even think about going down that road. So first thing we're gonna show you is putting the stem extender on here. And then I'm gonna try and piece this together into a video for you guys. Rainy day here in Florida, so we're underneath the cover. So I apologize about the shadow, and we're gonna try and keep that in mind as we move forward. Looking forward to this. We're gonna add a little accent color. These hydraulic brakes are actually red. I like them. They're a good, nice offset accent color. They're 2-pin. If you go to looking for them, they come about $1.40 a set. And got them on Amazon. We will leave a link in the description below for these brakes. We do plan on putting these on electric as well. For this though, gotta get the bike right. I'm 6'2". I wanna be more upright when I ride rather than over the top. So I'm gonna put a stem extender on here, and then we're gonna make a move to add some hydraulic brakes. Here we go. While I'm doing this and I bring my handlebars back over the top, I just want to make sure that I didn't bind up my cables while I was doing it. So just keep in mind that you need to watch your cables. Now I'm going to need to get enough spacers in here to leave a little recess so that the cap can go in when I put in my stem screw. So I'm already thinking probably these. That looks about good enough. Now I'm going to check that I get the depth that I need to actually screw this in, and I do. So it looks like we're going to fit. Now what I'm doing is making sure that my extension is in line with my stem for the handlebars. And that's just aesthetics. It doesn't really have to be that way. It will function anyway. Now I'm going to tighten down my stem. Get a good clamp on that. So what I did with this bolt was actually pinched everything together so we know that it's going to hold tight to this. And now I'm looking down the center line of the front wheel and tire so that I'm matching up how my handlebars sit so they're centered. Perfect. I know I can see that my cables are good. I'm not having any kind of run-in with that. We're going to put these on a Himiway Cruiser. The Cruiser already comes with 180 discs, so it looks like we won't even need these, which makes this job a lot easier. So these hoses are already pre-bled and capped, so if you do it right, you don't have to do it, but that's only if the length and extension of these hoses is good enough to fit your bike. If it is not, then you're going to have to cut them, and then you're going to have to actually fit these things appropriately. And then there are these little barbs, right, that you have to fit inside the hosing, so we may have to bring out the heat gun to make these pliable, to make this hose pliable enough to get that in there, which means we're going to have to cut this as well. So it can turn into a chore. Keep that in mind before you start. But one thing that we know that we don't have to do is put on the disc. We're just going to use those that are already on the bike. Another issue that we're probably gonna have is that we've got to get the line run through the frame, and it comes out down at the bottom bracket and then over up to the rear brake. So that's one. The front shouldn't be too terribly difficult. We know what we've got going on there, and then you can see that these are 180s right there. It tells you, and so we're good to go there. No pulling off the wheels, so we like that. We're gonna use the same mounts that are already on the bike too, and difficulty will come with these grips. There are no screws to get them off, so they're just slip-ons, and then they're very tacky. We're gonna have to take off this throttle as well, and then pull the cables. We're gonna get to it. It's hot. The summer is here. We've enjoyed all of the whatever, so I apologize for my sweatiness, but got to do all these things outside. We're learning still, but hopefully this will be content for you and good to show you some instruction on how to get some hydraulic brakes on here. This is going to be a bear. I don't really look forward to this part at all. I'm afraid of ruining them, but if they go bad, I will just get a new set. Honestly, I'm also looking at maybe possibly changing this half grip. Who knows? All right, this cap came out seemingly in one piece, so that's good as well. Woo! Yes, sir. Slip grips, it came off. These are a pain in the butt, and I always worry about ruining them, so that's a good removal right there. So on the half grip twist throttle, there is an Allen screw right here that pinches it onto the handlebars, so we need to loosen that up and then it should just slide right off. So now I am going to go ahead and loosen my brake calipers. I'm sacrificing on this bike the integrated bell, which I love so much. We're gonna have to get one to put it on the handlebars, but it's a good sacrifice for hydraulics versus cable pull mechanicals. And then I can confirm that this is a 2-pin, and that's what we've got for our hydraulics, so we'll be good to go there. That. Now I'm just gonna go ahead get that off of there. There we go. So for this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and smash this grip right back on there. Beautiful. Red looks good, I like it. When you plug these in, you really don't have to have an understanding of which one's which, because they're just kill switches for the motor. Both of them do the same thing. They can work on either one of your plugs. Lining up the arrows on these plugs, so keep that in mind as well. There's 2 arrows on either face. You line up the points and then they should plug right in. Our brake cables are free. Now we've got to get this replaced, so we're gonna have to fish this through. I'm likely gonna use some of this string to run I'll just tie it off on this one, and then when I pull it out, I'll have this string there as a fish line for the hydraulic hose to bring it back through the frame. I'm gonna take off my caps for my cables. Now, just gonna fish this out of here. So I'm gonna take some string, give myself a good length of it out. Go. Now I've picked up my caliper. It has the bracket on there. I'm just going to remove this and utilize what's here on the bike right now. Now I've got my fish line taped to my hose, so I'm gonna get it up through the frame. Make sure and put my little clamps back on my hose mounts, especially this one down here. I may have to get some zip ties to make sure that this holds. I don't know that these plastic clips are gonna make it happen. It looks like this length is gonna be great. I'm optimistic that I won't have to cut this hose, which means that so long as when I try and plug it in, I make sure to be mindful of the loss of fluid, I should be good to go without having to bleed these brakes. They come pre-bled. Alright, so what I'm looking for now are the 3 pieces per hose that I need to get this going. This end cap cover, which will go over everything, just a finishing cap, so you don't see this plug. And then there are these ferrules that go on the hose itself, and they crimp at both ends once it's tightened down, and then they make the secure connection. So these are important. Again, we're going to make this, hopefully we don't have to bleed the system. I'm pretty excited about that, so let me get this camera set up and then we'll get going. And then for this hose, the sequence goes like this. You put the finishing cap, then your nut, and then the ferrule right over the end of it here, and that will slide down. It doesn't look like it's going to go over this end, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and show you the removal. This will stay on there, and then this will just perfect. It'll slide right over. Making sure that hose is deep inside there. And I'm just holding it so it doesn't get bound up when I tighten this nut. Alright, same thing with the front that we did with the rear. We're going to remove the cap. No fishing. And now I'm just going to pull this cable out. right, we may need to adjust the spacing in and out, but I tried to center it on the caliper so the caliper rides right between the two brake pads, leaving equal spacing on either side. Okay, here are pieces. Remember, it's the cover, the nut thread side towards the end, and then I think I'm ready to go. So I'm going to hold this upright so no fluid spills out, and put on the ferrule. Then as soon as I get this nut off, I'm going right into the levers. Push that hose as far down in there as you can. Get a hold of your nut. Thread that. I'm holding my hose so it doesn't bind up as I tighten the nut. Alright, let's do this shit. Alright. 26, coming in hot, concrete strip. Yes, sir. Oh my. Just locked up the brakes on the Himiway Cruiser with the hydraulics, and oh my. So I'm gonna step this off real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 30 feet. Right here is where we locked up the rear tire. We made it before the barricades here, which, hell yeah. That's, I see a car, oh my gosh. So I like it. I don't recommend braking that way, and I don't recommend going at it that fast, but to know it can do it is very, very pleasing.